The curtains fell. On Mango Lane, shaded by tall fruit trees and lined with cream-colored bungalows, lived the Smiths family, the picture of contentment and grace. Mr. and Mrs. Smith were known and loved by neighbors. He was an architect, steady and respected, and she was a teacher who taught nursery children with a song in her voice. Their home was a quiet joy. Nancy, the elder daughter at 9 years old, was lively and sharp. Her younger sister Nora, just 5, was the image of innocence with curls that danced when she laughed. They were inseparable, often seen racing toy bicycles on the tiled veranda or playing dress-up with clothes from their mother's trunk. The household was kept running smoothly by 2 others. Auntie Jane, the cook, had worked with the Smiths since their marriage. She had a warm, round face and made the best vegetable soup in the entire estate. Then there was John, the gateman, a tall, quiet man who was always seen polishing the gate or gently washing Mr. Smith's car at dawn. He greeted the girls every morning with a respectful nod and a soft smile. Everything about their lives spoke of peace, order, and care. On Saturdays, the smell of akara and pap floated down the lane as the girls helped Auntie Jane in the kitchen, giggling as they tried to flip the bean cakes. Mr. Smith would work on his drawings in the study, occasionally lifting his head to listen to their laughter. Mrs. Smith would hum softly while watering her garden. Every evening, the family sat together in the backyard under the mango tree, having dinner while the sun painted the sky orange. Neighbors often waved as they passed, sometimes stopping by for quick chats or a taste of Auntie Jane's latest experiment. At night, Nora would ask her sister to tell her bedtime stories. Nancy, always dramatic, would add her own twists to classic fairy tales. And in the corner of the compound, John would switch off the outside lights and quietly retreat to his room beside the gate. Life moved like a lullaby. It was the first week of the school holidays when something changed. Mrs. Smith had taken a short trip to Ibadan to care for her sick mother. Mr. Smith stayed behind with the girls. On the 3rd day of her absence, a neighbor dropped by to share a strange observation. Her voice was hushed. Nancy was walking back from the back garden alone. But I could have sworn she was crying. And something didn't feel right. Mr. Smith brushed it off. Children cry. Maybe she missed her mother. But that night, Nancy didn't tell any bedtime stories. Instead, she stared blankly at the ceiling. When Mrs. Smith returned the next evening, she noticed Nora didn't run to hug her as usual. The girl was quiet, withdrawn. Something clung to the house like fog. Then, on Sunday it happened. It was a hot afternoon. The family had just returned from church. Lunch was served. Nora had been playing in the garden after eating. John was at the gate, humming quietly. Auntie Jane was napping. Mr. and Mrs. Smith were inside, sorting laundry. Then a scream broke the silence. It was Nancy. "Nora's gone," she cried. "I can't find her." The household exploded in panic. They searched every room, every corner. The neighbors joined. They checked the garden, the gate, the back alley. John swore he had not seen Nora leave. Auntie Jane said she had been inside all through. Hours passed. The police were called. A missing person alert was raised. Flyers went up. Roads were checked. Days turned into a week. No sign of Nora. Tears soaked pillows. The house no longer felt warm. The police interrogated everyone, including Nancy. Her responses were brief, her eyes too calm for a child who had lost her sister. Then Auntie Jane quit. She left a note. "I cannot stay in a house with such heavy spirits. Something is wrong, but I dare not say what I do not know." John, visibly affected, kept working but barely spoke. Whispers began to spread. People wondered. Had someone inside the house done something? One afternoon, Mrs. Smith overheard Nancy talking to herself in the garden. "I told her not to tell. I told her. Why didn't she listen?" That night, Nancy screamed in her sleep. She cried for Nora, for forgiveness. She mumbled about secrets and the shed in the back. The police were informed. They searched the small garden shed behind the house. Had always been locked. Inside they found Nora's shoe, the pink one with the tiny butterfly buckle. And buried shallow under the floorboard, they found a small, cold body. Nancy was brought in gently. She sat between her parents, sobbing. "It was a game," she said. "We were playing hide and seek. Nora hid in the shed. I locked the door. Just for fun. I thought she would cry and I'd let her out. But I got distracted. I went to eat. I forgot." She broke down. "When I remembered, it was night. When I opened the door, she wasn't moving. I tried to wake her. I shook her. I screamed. I didn't know what to do." Mr. Smith fell to the floor. Mrs. Smith wailed. John stood at the edge of the room, face pale with sorrow. Everyone had been innocent, and yet no one was. Nancy was taken for therapy. The law did not press charges, she was a child. But the Smith home was never the same. Mrs. Smith blamed herself for leaving. Mr. Smith blamed himself for not watching the girls closely. Some blamed John for not checking the backyard. Many blamed Auntie Jane for walking away. But deep down no one could decide, was anyone truly to blame? Or was it the simple cruelty of a child's mistake, met with silence, fear, and a world too stunned to act fast enough? Months passed. The house at Mango Lane was quiet. Nancy no longer laughed. The garden grew weeds. John eventually left, too burdened by what he couldn't undo. Only the mango tree stood tall, its fruits dropping like memories. Neighbors whispered when they passed. And sometimes in the evenings, a small voice could be heard, carried by the wind. "Nora, come out now. The game is over." But the game had ended long ago. And the house would never forget.